Recording. All right, Functional Fitness Friday. So today we are going to do a circuit. We're going to do 5 movements here, 3 rounds, and then we're going to do 50-10 today. And then we'll get into the more of the guided breathing stuff at the end. So we're going to start off with some upper body and then move into our lower body and core movements. So we're going to be on the ground for everything today, actually. So I'm going to move my camera down a little bit more. So we don't need any equipment, but I'm going to go ahead real quick with demos and then we'll get into it. So first movement here. I'm probably not going to be happy with myself either. So it's okay if you're like saying not so very nice things on me right now. We're going to be doing some single leg push-ups. So we're going to do all 50 seconds on one leg and then the other leg. So a lot of push-ups here. So to get started here, screwing our hands into the ground onto our hands and toes, and you can either lift your leg up or you can kind of rest it on your heel, whatever feels good. So doing again all on one leg and then resetting, doing the same thing on the other leg. So lots of push-ups. As we get tired, I know 3 rounds of that's going to be a lot. So as we start to really our chest starts to really fatigue, we can start to do more of an eccentric push up there instead. So after we finish that, we're going to move on to our lower body and core stuff. So first off, we're going to do some glute bridges. So for this, you can always put a band around your knees if you'd like, or just do a regular glute bridge here. So feet hip width apart, exhaling up, and then back down. So as we're coming back down, I want us to keep our core engaged and our pelvis tucked and our heels driving into the ground. That's going to give us our constant tension, make it a little bit harder on our glutes there. So we're going to do glute bridges, followed by glute bridge marches. Exhaling as we drive each knee up, driving our opposite heel into the ground. And then we're going to end up with some single leg lowering here. So it's been a while since we've done this. So we're going to have our feet in the air. We're going to inhale, lower one foot down. Exhale, coming back up. So it's just kind of a step up from a dead bug since our leg is nice and straight. Really important to make sure we're driving in it through our core. So that's going to be our whole workout for today. Quick, but also a lot of push-ups here. So we're going to get started with our warm-up. So we're actually going to get started with some plank to pike first. Really getting our shoulders ready here. So let's go ahead from our hands and knees. We can always tuck our toes. We can go into our down dog position here. Start to pedal our heels. Really opening up our calves. Pushing our head through our arms here. And then coming back down into our plank. So let's go ahead. We're going to move a little quicker the next few times. We're going to do about 5 of these here. Getting our arms and our core ready for all of our push-ups. We're going to do 2 more here. And last one. And then we can go ahead and make our way to our plank. Bringing our knees to the ground. And from here, we're going to do some quadruped rocks here, opening up our hips, getting our core and our legs ready for our glute bridges. So we're going to go ahead, inhale, rock back, bring our glutes towards our heels. And exhaling, coming back to our starting position. So we're going to do that a few times. You can go at your own pace. You can hold at the bottom for as little or as long as you'd like. Want to try and get our glutes all the way to our heels here, keeping our core engaged, back is flat. We're going to go ahead and do 1 more here. And after we finish that last one, we are ready to rock and roll. So we're starting off on the ground, single leg push-up here. We're mentally preparing for this moment, getting ready. 50 seconds of work, 3, 2, 1, and go. So for this one, you can choose whichever leg you want to start with, screwing our hands into the ground so our upper back is nice and flat, coming down, and then pushing the ground away. So making sure that our hands are directly below our shoulders. My shoulders, I'm just already tired. We're here starting out in front, Lowering yourselves down so our hands are about a couple ribs up from the bottom, and then pushing back up like we're scooping. That scooping motion is going to help us engage our chest. And again, resorting to an eccentric lowering and getting up wherever you need to when we start to fully fatigue here. 3, 2, 1. All right, 10 seconds is going to go by really quick. We're going to do the same thing with the other leg in the air or tucked over. 3, 2, 1. So really trying to do as many full ones as we can here. Okay. That's going to be, this is my warm up for my chest workout that I'm going to go do in 3 hours. We're lowering ourselves nice and slow once we kind of hit our failure point, making sure that our chest and our hips are hitting at the same time for that. And we're not just falling to the ground. We're slowly lowering ourselves once we get to that eccentric portion. If your chest is stronger than mine, then you're probably doing a little bit better than that. But 3, 2, 1. All right. Flipping on over, we have glute bridges. So you can always grab a band if you'd like. 3, 2, 1. So tuck our pelvis. Our back is on the ground. We're breathing through our straw. That's going to get our core locked and loaded. We're driving our heels through the ground. Our glutes should be engaged the whole time. Exhaling as we drive our hips up. You can always make it more challenging by holding at the top for 3 to 5 seconds and then lowering yourself nice and slow and then coming right back up. Or you can always add weight on your lap, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. All right, we got about 10 seconds, and then we're doing glute bridge marches. 3, 2, 1. All right, so tucking our pelvis, bringing our hips up towards the ceiling. On this one, it's really easy as we're starting to do our marches to have our feet be in the center to help our balance. If I really want us to keep our feet hip width, that's going to help us really force to use our core for our anti-rotation. It's also going to put a little bit more pressure on our legs and our glutes. Our bodies automatically want to take the path of least resistance, want to force our body into making those adaptations here. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, single leg lowering. So both our hands, both our legs are going to be up towards the ceiling, not our hands. 3, 2, 1. So legs towards the ceiling. We're going to inhale down. Exhale up. Exhaling, bringing our core together. We want to make sure we're using our core, not our hip flexors. It's going to help us really be forced to engage our core here. Doing awesome. Keeping our low back on the ground. 3, 2, 1. All right. Round 1 is done. Moving on to round 2, we have single leg push-ups. 3, 2, 1. So we're lowering nice and slow. Getting up however we need to. Keeping the same leg in the air or crossed over for this whole round. And then we'll move on to the other leg. So you can either hold it up, which will get you a little bit more of a glute workout, which is never a bad thing. It's also a little bit I'll say harder because we're trying to balance out our body weight as similar to our glute bridge marches. So that was not very slow. 3, 2, 1. All right. Quick rest. And then we're doing the other leg. 3, 2, 1. Other side. Trying to go as slow as we can. No, this one's definitely a little bit challenging to do so many back to back. I don't know what. And for some reason this sounded like a good idea in theory. In reality, this is not chalking up to be as good of an idea. But that's okay. We're doing this together. We're holding ourselves accountable to doing the things we don't like and to do the hard things. Because that's how we improve in and outside of the gym. 3, 2, 1. Okay, flip it on over. Glute bridges. Coming on up. 3, 2, 1. All right, feet hip width apart. Driving through our heels. Finding the good foot positioning for ourselves. If our feet are too far away, we're going to feel it in our hamstrings. If they are too close, we're going to feel it in our quads. So we are finding our Goldilocks just right position for these. Head's way too close to the wall. Keeping our pelvis tucked as we come down to the ground. So if you see, my butt is not actually on the ground and my glutes are still engaged. So we're keeping that tension straight back up. So we're really not resting our glutes. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're gonna do our marches and then our single leg lowering. 3, 2, 1. So feet staying where they were. Our headlights on our hips are facing evenly towards the ceiling. We're trying to use our core and our glutes for anti-rotation. Glute bridge marches are my favorite movement. Besides, well, I say glute bridge marches and dead bugs are probably my 2 favorites for our overall pillar strength because we really are using our core, our low back muscles, and our glutes, and that can really help us with our posture, any back tension we have from sitting at the desk, kind of offsetting our lifestyle factors. 3, 2, 1. By lifestyle factors, I really mean our work-life balance. Or mean our work-life positions. Geez, 3, 2, 1. Single leg lower. I say that because I know how it can be getting sucked into a bunch of meetings and getting sucked into work, staring at our screens all day. So this is going to help us. Even this one too, so the glute bridge marches and the single leg lowering are going to help strengthen our pillar to help us while we're sitting at the desk to have better posture and to be more mindful even when we're out walking, to have our core engaged and to have good posture during all of our movements here. My goal is always to help us improve the muscles and the positions that we have in real life outside of the gym to help our life be a little easier movement wise. 3, 2, 1. All right. 2 down, last round coming up. Single leg push-ups. 3, 2, 1. I know push-ups might not seem like we use this a lot during the day, during our day-to-day life, but if you just think of strengthening our pillar as a whole as well, a lot of our pillar movements like glute bridge marches are just our torso and our hips. So this is getting our shoulders and our torso to help us with our posture and to help us, when we're opening doors as well. I know I have a family member who tore her rotator cuff opening a door. So, we got to be careful. And this will help us really strengthen our muscles here for everyday life. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Done with that leg. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. 3, 2, 1. The other part of push-ups that can help is our upper back does need to be nice and engaged. We need to be squeezing our armpits, so our upper back, because we don't want our scapulas and our shoulder blades to be winging and crunching together as we push up. So a strong back will really help with our push-ups, and that will also help us with a lot of movements in everyday life. Any pulling movement, even with overhead movements, that can give us a little bit more strength in our upper back, which is really important for overhead mobility. So even though I know push-ups are my least favorite, they do serve a purpose and they help us be better in other movements and outside of the gym. 3, 2, 1. Okay. We are done with those. Great job. I know those are not fun, but we did awesome. We did it. We got glute bridges. 3, 2, 1. All right. Keeping our core engaged. We're trying to not let our pelvis untuck at all as we lower towards the ground, driving through our heels, coming back up. You can slow it down to make it more challenging. And as I said in the warm-up, you can always do, or in the demos, you can always put a band around your knees. You can put a weight on your hip. You can do one, you can do both, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. All right, done with those. We got marches, glute bridge marches, and then single leg lowering. And then we're gonna cool down and breathe. 3, 2, 1. All right, pushing our hips up, exhaling, one knee at a time. Keeping our feet hip width apart. Great job. Doing great. Keep pushing. Keep breathing. We got this and single leg lowering. Definitely we're gonna do some figure 4 to cool down. Actually, no, we're gonna do some breaths-o. So we can open up our chest after all of our push-ups and open up our legs. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do some breaths-o to cool down. So we're gonna do our single leg lowering and then we're gonna stay on the ground for our cool down. 3, 2, 1. We're here. The third round, especially after doing all the core work we just did, it can be a little bit harder to pull with just our core. So move a little bit slower, shorten your range of motion if you need to. I always like to put my hands over my core to make sure that I'm using it to come back up. Just like when doing like a glute bridge or a reverse lunge, you can always tap your glutes to make sure you're using them. You can always do that same thing with your core. Great job. Finishing strong. We're almost there. 3, 2, 1. And that is going to be it for today's circuit. So go ahead and grab a sip of water if you need it. And we're going to be on our side, like I said, for some bretzel. So you can start with whichever side you'd like to. I'm going to start on this side. We have our checklist here. So on our side, our top leg is going to come up, over, across our body. Knee and ankle are going to stay on the ground. Bottom hand on top of our knee. Top hand grabs onto our bottom foot or ankle. We're going to inhale to prepare. And we're going to exhale, bringing our top shoulder towards the ground. Really relaxing our body, letting our body sink further into the ground. And one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can gently release out of that. And when we're ready, making our way to our opposite side here, where we have our same checklist, we're going to do the same thing. So when we're ready, we're going to have our top leg coming up, over, and across our body. Knee and ankle are going to stay on the ground. Bottom hand goes on top of our knee. Our top hand is going to grab onto our bottom foot or ankle. We're going to inhale to prepare. And exhaling, bringing our top shoulder towards the ground. So as we exhale, letting our body sink further into the ground, trying to relax all of our muscles as much as we can. We're going to do one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can gently return to our side. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and roll over onto our hands and our knees. We're going to do some child's pose today for our breathing. You're more than welcome to stay on your back to breathe if you like. But for today, we're going to do our tempo. We're going to inhale for 6, hold for 4, exhale for 10. We're going to relieve some stress, calm everything down in our minds and our bodies. Really do a nice reset before we go into the weekend. So from here, hands and knees. We can take our knees a little bit wider than hip width. We're going to rock our hips back, walk our hands forward, bring our forehead, chin, or cheek to the ground for some child's pose. So for our tempo today, I'm going to count us out for 1 round. So we're going to do inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So try and keep that tempo here. We're going to do a few of these. You can also do a little bit of a mental reset here, which I love to do. Go ahead. I want you to think of 3 things that you are grateful for, which can help us really mentally feel a little bit better when we start to look around and appreciate the things around us, the people around us, all of that. And that can give us a nice little reset, set the mental tone going into the rest of the day, going into the weekend, and all of that. Trying to be quiet now so we can go ahead and just focus on breathing and gratitude. And let's go ahead and do one more round of our tempo here. And as we start to finish our exhale, start to gently wake our bodies up a little bit. Start to wiggle our fingers and toes. And when we're ready, we can go from child's pose to returning to our hands and knees. And from here, we can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. Or go ahead, feel free to stand some child's pose. But that is going to be all the time I have for y'all today. So thank y'all so much for joining me. I hope you have a great weekend. I know it's sunny today, so hopefully it'll stay for a few days so you can enjoy the sun and get outside a little bit this weekend. But thank you both for coming.